one of the things I wanted to go over during this demo day was our new field services module. I just wanted to walk you guys through the creation and some of the new things we sort of added to this module. So I'll start off by creating a new field service module, and I'll type in a customer. And so you'll see that it'll pre-fill all the information similar to the current field service report and the ERP system. But one of the newer things we've added is an ability to select a type. So we have two types here. One's warewash and one's laundry. And so if we add our operations type, you'll see that it pre-fills all of the information. And in some of them, it'll even add in some data. And this is all driven by fs.control. And so we added a couple different types of fields. So for this particular one, we have a combo box. So for this operation type, we could pick emergency. We have a checklist, and some of this could be pre-filled. And then we also have operations. And then this is a number type, so it'll only allow numbers. And so that is one thing you could do. Some of the other things, you could add notes and add a signature. Just add some quickly. And then you could have who it's been signed by, and then we timestamp it with the date and the current time. Hit save. And then once we hit save and we create the field service, we're able to add attachments. So our current field service is 119. And so let's go over. So you can see here that it appeared in our table. And one of the new things we've added is we've been using our new form field PDF. So if we download this, you'll see, oh, no, not this one. Sorry, we made some last minute changes pretty quickly. But one thing I want to show you is our new PDF form fill. And so this has a different look and feel than our old PDFs. So this is something we could actually template out, and we could basically fill the information. And we have a lot more options than before. So we could add check boxes. Here, you can see that it was either normal versus emergency. And then this is all getting filled by that report that we just filled out. Not this one in particular. We made a last second change, and I think I must have broke something. But as you can see, we're pre-filling the technician. We're printing the signature who is captured by, and then we're also adding a signature, although this got moved over a bit. I'll need to fix that. But this is generally the new way we want to do field services. And we do have one customer currently using this in production. And they're able to sort of flip different report types and print and send their PDFs to their customers. But that's a high level overview of field services. And I could just show you one more thing. So one of the nice things is, so if you're flipping between types, and you're able to fill this out. If you had made a mistake, you could add it again, or you could even flip it between a different one. And the way this is working through fs.control is we have different group types. And so this is all getting grouped, and that's what you see is driving the headers and all this information. But yeah, this is our new field services module. And like I said, we do have one customer currently using this. We're wrapping up a last report type, but yeah, I think this is a pretty exciting new module we've added. I think it could bring a lot of value.
Yeah, I think between the fs.control orchestration of it, which I don't know that you need to pull up here, but if people connect to the dev system through the client, they could run fs control and take a look at it over there. Yeah, you're doing it.
Yeah, I think we took a quick peek.
Yeah, I think you showed some of this previously, but basically the dynamic setup of that on the ERP side and how that gets interpreted and respected through the web, plus the new document template for the field service report. Previously, like there was a field service order template, but that looked and felt a little bit more like a sales order rather than the output of a service text visit to a customer location. Right, here's the report on the services that were rendered. So having that now to me feels like a pretty complete recipe in terms of being able to hit up any of our customers that have employees that are acting as service techs, right? Where they've sold some service, those employees are performing the service and they're generating a report of the services rendered. There's a pretty powerful equation here now to take advantage of. This particular customer wasn't using field services within Rover previously, so that made it fairly flexible to get them going through this use case on the web. Um, but they're interested in adopting the rest of the field services module now. So at some point in the next year, when they're ready to unpack that project, we'll dig into it with them and bring some of the other field services pieces over that exist on the ERP side right now. But the nice thing is this all operates in concert with that on the Rover side. So even though there's some net new stuff happening here, it is still just an extension of the existing field services module. So it can be made available to other customers too pretty easily. So cool stuff. I'd mentioned too that the techs at this customer, um, they're doing all this work actually out in the field, right? It's not like they've got service bays or anything like that. Something that, maybe a little more automotive in nature. These guys are out visiting customer sites, performing these services. And so, they're not carrying clipboards or anything like that to fill out paper reports and bring them back into the office. They're using iPads in the field to use this application to complete the report on the spot. And really, really powerful case study starting to build out of that. So cool stuff here. Thanks, Christian.
I think we showed this in the last demo day, but the AI interface is a chat window that opens via this icon that will show up throughout the site. And what we've done is we have given the AI assistant context to where you're at throughout the site, and we can provide default prompts based on that area. So if we're under customers, it will show us customer related questions. If we were to choose a specific customer, it can then be aware of that customer and give us prompts specific to that customer. But what we've been working on recently is giving the AI assistant the ability to call our APIs. So if I ask it one of these canned questions here, what customer has the highest total open balance? Let it chew on that for a moment. All right, so it's come back with the customer with the highest open balance, and then I could ask it to compose a collection letter. I could type it. Goodness. So now it successfully came up with the collection email. And now to show what I was attempting to show, we're allowing it to interact with our APIs now. So I can tell it to send this email to an email address of my choice. You could also have this integrate with contacts and things like that to have it automatically decide what email address to send it to. In this case, I'm telling it each time to prompt me for where the email should go. So now it's going out and calling a Rover API to send a generic email. And in a moment here, it should come back and tell us that that was successful. All right, and now if we hop over here, there's our collection email that we just sent. So this is kind of a quick demonstration of how we can leverage the AI assistant to generate content, and then we can use that content with our own APIs. It's a quick visual representation of calling an API method on our side that then does something. The next steps would be things like interacting with an API directly to pull data that isn't necessarily in Rover BI, and then you could ask it um, to interpret that data and give you information about it.
Or do a thing
So
like, hey, we've agreed to credit like $20,000 against this open balance. So please go ahead and create that credit memo and then send the email to let them know they've received the credit, but their outstanding balance is the difference. That sort of a thing, right? There's like a whole slew of possibilities that start to open up with the point here being this went from just talking to BI and OpenAI to also talking to the backend Rover system for the email origination, which is how also, Greg, if you flip back to your inbox, that email came from Rover at zoomassist.com, right? The branding was maintained here. It's not like this came from some generic ChatGPT email or Rover BI email. By routing this stuff back through the customer's backend system, they maintain their branding through their outbound email communication here too. So a powerful component because it means now we've pulled Rover ERP and effectively any non-Rover system too, if we wanted to light up those APIs, um, into the conversation so that you're able to not just retrieve stuff, but also start to take action through the system itself, which is a really powerful thing potentially, right? This is tip of the iceberg stuff.
Another interesting point here is that we're using custom plugins to wire up this functionality into our APIs, and we can provide guidance there. So in this case, this is an API or a plugin that could send any generic email. And I've instructed it to always prompt me for review before it would ever send an email. So you can do that kind of thing with other APIs, like Mike mentioned, if you wanted it to create a credit, you could have it create the credit, validate with you that it did what you expected it to do before you actually have it take the action.
So thank you. So a few months ago, few meetings ago, we showed off this design mock-up for the accounting module for the web. And I'm happy to say we've finally started in on the development of the front end implementation. So Carlos, yeah, if you'd flip over to the other tab. So what you can see here is early days, but some nice progress already. Got those nice, pretty KPI cards up top to control navigation between the sections. And then Carlos has been working with Mike Coelho, and I'm sure Nicole in the background too, to work through the implementation of the summary sections below. There's been some back and forth on ideas to maybe rethink the different collapsible sections there and tab out some of those options. So he's working through that at the moment. But I wanted to show this off. I felt like this was a nice touch to cap off the meeting today, just to say, hey, the accounting system is moved on from that design stage here. We're into implementation, still early days of implementation. The receivables section will probably move the fastest just because we already had AR data flowing into the web for the invoices section. This will eventually replace the invoices section on the employee side. But for now, we're doing it in parallel so that we don't step on anything over there. So yeah, some cool stuff here by, this time next month. I'd expect you'll see a lot of forward progression on this particular page, not just the initial landing page, but also the drilling into the, actual AR records, right? The web version of AR.E, same with AP and the GL side too. So a lot of cool stuff yet to come, but I think this is looking pretty nice already. So thank you, Carlos. And thanks to Mike and Nicole and the team for all the time engaging with Sergio and now the time dedicated to Carlos and the team as they work through the implementation.